Are you scared to pitch sellers your offer? So many wholesalers are so scared to give an offer to a seller because they don't know what to say, and they're frankly scared if they say an offer that's too low, the seller's going to scream at them and beat them up. Well, the dang truth here is making an offer is easy. The hard part is framing it in the right way. When you give a lowball offer, it's going to be accepted by your sellers. So what I'm going to do today is show you exactly my framework to pitch the ideal offer to a motivated seller. So you go from, hey, I want to sell my property, to a nice signed contract in person and in virtual wholesaling real estate. So the first step here on creating the ideal offer to a motivated seller is making sure that you get a good rapport set. It's making sure that you have rapport set. The thing about it is, if the seller doesn't trust you or at least like you, what's the point of giving an offer? You want to build some sort of connection so it's not monotone and what's the price, what's the price, what's the price? If it's all about price, then just go with a realtor. So when I'm trying to build rapport, I like to build rapport while also getting information about the property so I know exactly how much to offer the seller. This is why I've always used the simple MCTP method: motivation, condition, timeframe, price, right? Asking why the seller's looking to sell the property, C, the condition, tell me a little bit more about the property, T, timeframe, when are they looking to sell, and P, price, what's a ballpark range they're looking to sell the property for. The thing about it is, you get to know more about the property, and a lot of you guys get so shaking in fear, especially as a beginner, of what do I tell a motivated seller. The cool part about this is you have the exact scripts to say. You really don't need to memorize it because MCTP says easy and simple. And the seller's like, wow, they're actually asking me legitimate questions. This is a legit buyer. And of course, it's not supposed to be rigid, like just ask M and then ask condition. Like, have a good flow of a conversation and just ask those questions from there. The main part about rapport building is it's mostly just asking questions and discovering why they're looking to sell the property. So many people want to overcomplicate this and have all these insane scripts when just have a good flow, but flow it in a way where those questions are asked. From there, you're going to get a good amount of data where you're going to see if they're actually realistic or they're absolutely insane on wanting to sell. I get so many motivated sellers that say, I don't know if I want to sell. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know. Just give me an offer. And motivation, like, why were you thinking about selling it? And they say, I don't know, I just want an offer. Probably not even worth giving you an offer, right? You want to take a shot where you can at least know you're going to make the shot, which is an offer, right? And so that's why it's really important out here to build that rapport and just get some information and discovery with these sellers. And this leads me to the next part, which is conditioning. I'm a big fan of conditioning sellers. And basically what this is it eliminates pretty much every procrastinator and every excuse that you're going to give when you give an offer. What I mean by this is, if you ask a motivated seller, hey, what price do you want to sell it at? They say 150. You say, well, can you do 120? If they hit you with the, I'll think about it, you're screwed. Like, that's a maybe. Like, what's he going to do? The thing about it is, when you get a maybe in this business, that's pretty much a delayed no. Now, if you look at the definition of procrastinator on the dictionary, it's going to say to delay an action. And that's exactly what the maybe is. And so most motivated sellers, in essence, are procrastinating. They're procrastinating fixing up the property. They're procrastinating getting rid of the house. And they usually have to sell at the last possible moment. And they're just chronic procrastinators. And when you're a procrastinator, you delay taking an action. And when there's an action to sell the property and write a contract, you're in essence delaying that by saying, I'll think about it. Because that's just what motivated sellers do. So what I like to do is just get rid of that possibility. And so usually in wholesaling real estate, when you give a cash offer, there are three possibilities. Number one, the seller says, yes, I'll take your offer. Two, no, I don't like that offer. And maybe you can negotiate from there. At least you have some sort of springboard from a no. And then three is maybe I'll think about it. And that puts you in this perpetual follow-up land, which you're going to be stuck the rest of your life with. And so when I condition a motivated seller, I always make sure that they're ready to make a yes or a no decision. All that really does is eliminate the maybe out of the situation. Between you and me, that's all I really want. Pretty much what this means is you kind of can play got you if they say maybe. So if they say, 120, I'll think about it. You basically say, well, Mr. Seller, I thought you said you're ready to make a yes or no decision. I thought you were a man of my word. I thought you were a man of your word. I mean, I'm a man of my word. I'm ready to make a decision right now. Like, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? And then they make the decision. Now, obviously, this is not going to 100% eliminate it. I've had sellers time and time again say, well, I changed my mind. There's really nothing you can do there. You can't scream at somebody or force them to sign or just say no. But it eliminates most of the chronic procrastination you're going to find with motivated sellers. But as long as you do that, you can get any offer you possibly want, right? So it's virtual wholesaling, like the first call, build your rapport, condition the seller for a yes or no decision. And if they say yes, you can give them an offer right there. To ideally pitch the offer, you want to be in a general ballpark where you want to be at. And there's so many tools to figure out exactly what the ARV is, the offer price, stuff like that. I mean, I recommend my AI calculator in freewholesaling.com, which is my free calculator for repair cost, ARV, and everything like that. You can use a software like xleads.com to find ARV. We have this thing called the wholesale price, which is really unique, which it shows you where the property should be for a wholesaling deal. Now, of course, it's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty dang accurate. And once you figure out what your offer price is, then you get into the offer. Now, my biggest suggestion before we get into the offer here is make sure the offer is stupid low. Like my always best advice is whatever offer you give, it should be a no. I always say it, go for a no. And if you're going into the negotiations with the main goal of getting a no from your seller, you're going to absolutely get the best price possible. Now we're into the offer. I mean, you have some choices here, right? And I personally think it really boils down to your personality. But let me give you 3 types of offers you can give out. It's really up to you. Number 1 is just a standard lowball. Ask the seller what price they're at. They spit out a price. You counter with the lowball and you negotiate from there. That's pretty much how most wholesalers have been doing it for the past 100 years. And it's tried and true, and it's always going to work. Now, you could throw in a price anchor in there and say, ideally, I want to buy the sucker for $60,000 and just see their reaction. Well, that's what I really want to do because I want to make the most money, but like how close you are from there, price anchoring is okay. I mean, that's pretty much every salesperson who's always talked about price anchoring. I prefer something called reverse price anchoring or reverse anchoring, where you have a partner or just at least some colleague in the wholesaling space give you what they think a lowball offer is and just mention, hey, I was talking to my partner Rick about this, and he told me he was looking to buy the property for around $60,000. You get the reaction, say, I know, Rick's crazy. What price would you be at? And then you go from there. Now, the third one is also a very unique one. It's called the dollar bill method, and that's not bad at all. It's basically if a seller says, I have no idea what price I would be at, and you don't want to shoot out a lowball offer to them, you basically say, well, Mr. Seller, I mean, would you take $1 million for the property? And they'll probably say, yeah, I would take $1 million for it. Okay, well, would you take $1 for the house? And you're like, no, then that's way too low. And so you kind of play gotcha there where it's like, well, what number between $1 million and $1 works for you? And they say, I don't know, you give me a price. I'm like, well, if you want to take $1, I mean, would you take $2? No? $3? No. And they're going to lose their pay. You're like, $70,000. And then boom, you get them out because most people are impatient. Now, those are the 3 main ones. I think it's important when you're pitching this offer to the motivated seller that if they say no to your lowball offer, which is the main point, you should counter with facts. You should not counter with emotions. Something like, well, I would love to be at that price and that'd be the best, but unfortunately, I need to redo the flooring. You have a roof leak, which is going to cost me at least $20,000 just to replace the dang roof out of here. And I got to redo the kitchen. And if the kitchen was redone and there was no roof leak, yeah, I could probably do that $100,000. But unfortunately, it needs all this work. I'm going to have to be closer to $60,000. If you give a reason why your offer is so low, even something like, well, based on how much you can get for rent, that's better than absolutely doing nothing. Now, another really important thing, especially when giving offers, is you can walk away from a deal. And not a lot of people in wholesaling talk about this, but the seller just wants way too much money. Just walk away from the deal. And you're going to make money from the follow-up there. It's okay to walk away from a deal that's just locked up for way too high. Now, there are some people in wholesaling that do say, lock it up for a high price and then do a price renegotiation like a month before the closing. I just don't think that's good practice, and I'm probably not going to tell you to do that. But there are people that's like what they do. I'd prefer if you just walk away from a bad deal and follow up a couple days later and see if you can get a deal from there. Now, it's important when you pitch this offer that you say it with clear confidence and belief that you and your partner can buy the property. So many wholesalers lack confidence. When they lack confidence, they won't look the seller in the eye if it's in person, or they won't be very clear and direct with the offer. And there should be this calmness when you give the offer. Like, I mean, I don't need to buy this property. Like, I'm doing you a favor, basically. Not like this ego jerk way, but in a way of, I'm confident and there's a lot of properties people want to sell and I don't need to buy your house. Where it's like, okay, well, I need to get rid of this and need to get rid of it urgently. Now, my last piece of advice here is how do you become the best closer possible when giving offers? And I get this question asked so many dang times, and I'll answer it right now. The best way to close a seller is to just be the first seller. So speed is going to be king here if you want to be the best closer possible. Now, a lot of people talk about this, but if you're talking to a motivated seller that's talked to 7 different wholesalers and they all gave offers, it's like, it's going to be so much harder to close that seller compared to you're the first one, they're motivated, they just want to get rid of the house now. And the reason why that seller has taken 6 offers is because they said maybe to every single offer. And the funniest part about it is you're going to be in the same trap. Now, if you can condition them and say, I don't know if I can make a decision, okay, we'll just keep following up till they're ready to make a decision, right? Speed is going to be important. So that's why it's important to go after lists that are niched out where most wholesalers aren't attacking them. These are probates, code violations, fire damage properties, reverse drawing for dollars, put sticky notes in ugly houses. That's going to be the small little difference that's going to give you weeks of extra time with a seller that everyone else has to wait on. I mean, one of my other secrets is like going actually to the clerk of the court and pulling the fresh pre-foreclosures that just got pulled today. Because the average software is going to take at least a week or 2 weeks before the pre-foreclosure list pops up on the software. So you get in front of the software by a week or two, and that's the little speed advantage that's going to give you the most success. So if you're ready to start pitching offers to your motivated sellers with belief and confidence, actually believe in yourself. Believe you can actually help the seller and start getting wholesaling real estate deals. Guys, if you want to join my free real estate wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, and join my community, it's all in there absolutely for free. And like always, got any value from this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.